why do you think the NFL had the referees this year as opposed to all those years, all those refs have been there. These refs have been there for 18, 17 years. They decided to do it this year.
It's you know, it may never been thought of, in my opinion, and it's the time, bro. I mean, with everything that's happening now, it's the time. It's just, you may not, and I'm not saying it's not to blame there. This probably was an oversight. But the things now, you have to find ways now to show you're connected to what's going on. Because if you're not, you look silly. And ironically, man, what's taking place in this country in the last 8, 10 months, either you're for it or you're not. And if you're not for it, you're shown, and this country is making you out to be an idiot. It's just that simple. It really is.
Yeah. Ice, what do you think, man? Why now? I mean, Emancipation Proclamation is 1865. NFL has been there for 100 years. 2020, now we have an all-black crew as referees to call a game.
Right, I agree with what Black Thor mentioned. It's about the pressure. It's all about them two not being on the outside, because you think about it. One thing I found that they were trying to do now is there have been some older elder statesmen or referees who've been around for a long time that have since retired. They even brought them back and put them up in the suite. So they sitting up watching over the crew, kind of paying, acknowledging that they approve. So, I mean, it's the whole Black Lives Matter thing and what's changing around. But it's really sad because it's like trying to bring in some old Negro League players from baseball. You should have honored them a long time ago. But now all of this craziness is going on, and everybody else a lot of people are progressively moving forward. But instead, you've been holding out, and you don't want to look silly and stupid. So that's what they're doing. And no disrespect to those that I think it's a great thing honoring these folks. But, and I said this before, this shouldn't be a big thing. Not in 2020. We come to 2021. It shouldn't be a big thing by having all African-American crew. You should have been doing that. Should have been doing that for years. You always had 1 or 2 guys. You remember that the one man used to be out there with the little kind of thick mustache, just a little kind of portly. He used to be out there, all right, first down. And I don't think they even let him come on TV at the time. He had to work his way even to get on there to turn on his mic. But he was always out there. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of patience for how they're trying to make this a big thing. That's when you said this evening about somebody said it was a historical night. I said, for what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't see the historicness in it at all.
Oh,
good night. Was it good to see them all walk out together? Yes, but and that's a word to me. Those are 2 words to me. They get thrown around too loosely. Great and historic. It's just man. People, you do something good, oh, you're great. No, it's just good. Good is good enough sometimes. Historic, no. It's to me, historic is when you basically can see Black coaches everywhere in the sideline. Then I'm going historic. You got Black ownership. Now you're talking. You come out throwing a flag on the game. It's nice, but it's not historic to me. It's just not. Save that word for when it's really there.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. And the thing the problem I have with it too is when you say historic, it's like they were nowhere to be found. They've been in the league. A lot of them.
They've been there for almost 20 years, some of them.
That's what I'm saying. All of a sudden you bring them together. It's historic. It's historic because you had the guts to step up and bring them together as a unit because you didn't think they were good enough collectively. That's historic. That's BS. That's horrible, man. That's BS. Some of them people been in the league in little sprinkles here and there. If they're not on the field, then they've been behind the scenes serving as the backup. They've been up in the booth doing whatever they have to do. They've been around. Because you deem it time to show this, it's historic. Again, we're a great rap song. Somebody gonna say it. Remember, his history means his story.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Welcome to the First 40 with the Goon Squad. It is Ice Water. It is Black Thor. And of course, yours truly, Puma, talking sports. We're going to talk a lot of sports today. And check us out on YouTube. Watch, share, subscribe, comment, email us, do whatever. Tell us how we're doing. All right? We're going to do our eye test, our NFL eye test. Going to go with Ice Water first. Give me the teams, the games, the players that stood out for you in Week 11 of the NFL.
Yeah, man. First, I want to start with Tennessee's win over Baltimore. Tennessee came back. They were pushing through. You saw them struggling early on. You didn't know what was going to happen, but they went old school and they got it done. I'm telling you, each week I watch Baltimore, like with Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, had an opportunity to win. I watch Baltimore again, of course, against Tennessee, and they just, I'm telling you, I think they literally are becoming predictable on offense. It's all about the tight end, Mark Andrews, right? And Jackson running the ball. Jackson ran the ball 13 times in that game. J.K. Dobbins is showing up a little bit. We don't know what's going on with Mark Ingram. We haven't found him. But I think they're so predictable right now. And this is how bad it is. I think they need to figure out something before the playoffs. No disrespecting this guy, but they activated Dez Bryant. He caught 4 passes. He ain't played in 19 years, seemed like. I'm just saying. He caught that. They activated him. So what is going on there? Hollywood Brown didn't catch a pass. They targeted him 3 times. I know they double team, but I think they're just kind of falling very short. And if they don't fix that sometime soon, they could be really in trouble. The other game I have to talk about, of course, is Dallas over Minnesota. Simply because, well, I'm just saying, because Andy Dalton comes back and he rallies them. And the way that Minnesota's been playing, I was suspect. I really didn't know if Dallas could hang with them. But Dallas, they rose to the occasion. It was the first time all year that Ezekiel Elliott rushed for over 100 yards. All season.
Wow.
All season, first time. And I think that says a lot about them. I'm not saying they're going anywhere, but as a team, to have a little confidence, I think that goes a long way. And last but not least, to talk about the Denver Broncos win over Miami. 2013 wasn't pretty, but Tua struggled a little bit. They brought in Fitzpatrick. And Denver is just finding ways to get it done. You know, Locke is moving the ball around. Melvin Gordon showing up a little bit. They got a nice 1-2 punch with Philip Lindsay as well. But they're playing decent football for the last couple of weeks. So those are the 3 games that kind of really just stuck out to me in the players and primarily just the teams.
All right, Black, give me your eye test for Week 11 in the NFL, man.
I'm going to start with the Ravens like I did, man. I took the Ravens to win that game. And for the most part, their offense, wasn't great, but they was doing enough just to win the game. Their defense just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter, man. It's just it was just amazing to watch them in the fourth quarter basically kind of surrender the game. And even going to overtime, you just knew they couldn't stop Tennessee. If they didn't go down and score a touchdown, I knew that game was basically over. But to piggyback on something I said, I think the league has caught up with them offensively. They have found a way. The Patriots kind of did this on Sunday night. They found a way to contain him a little bit inside and force him to throw, and you don't give him the pockets to run outside the pocket and get on the edge. And either they start to, and I don't think they're going to be able to. I think they didn't come into the season with any adjustments. I think John Harbaugh was cocky. If I listened to Rex Ryan talk yesterday in the morning, and he said Harbaugh always wanted the Ravens to be bullies. With that mindset, I think he came back into the season shit, not realizing that they was going to catch up with you in all season, bro. And you just can't bully everybody. At some point, you have to do something they're not expecting. And it seemed like week to week, they're not changing their plays up enough just to throw anybody off. So even Lamar Jackson said a couple of weeks ago, they knew our plays. They were calling the plays up before they hiked the ball. What does that tell you, bro? They know what you're doing. And that's okay. The old Bill Parcells way of playing football, even though you know it, stop it. But they are stopping you, so you got to do something different. You got to fire the Detroit coach right now. You got to go.
You text me that.
Yes. You got to go, bro. When you playing Carolina without their star McCaffrey running back, you're playing them with their quarterback not playing. There was a coach, I don't know if you guys seen the highlights. I was watching this game off and on yesterday. There's a quarterback that played for the ASL, whatever that league was that went kaput.
Yeah, PJ Walker.
That brother lit that defense up. He threw two red zone interceptions. Could have been touchdowns. He was up and down the field with them like it was nobody business. And don't get me wrong, Pat Patricia, what did you do in New England? Defensive coordinator. What are you doing with this team? So it's like, if you go into Carolina and treat them like the Green Bay Packers that won the first 2 Super Bowls, he's got to go. Take that pencil off his ear, kick his fat ass out of Detroit, because he ain't done nothing since he been there. He ain't done nothing, not a thing. With that being said, I'm switching to Green Bay, and I love Aaron Rodgers, but this is the part about Green Bay. People can punk Green Bay. We saw the 49ers do it last year, and damn it, you saw the Indianapolis Colts do it last night. Ingray is just too much of a finesse. Their defense doesn't stop anybody. They can't blow their nose if they have mucus in their nose, but they just can't get it done. And it's sad because his talent is going to go down and be wasted with nothing but highlights in one Super Bowl when he should at least have 2 or 3 under his belt now. If he had a good defense to play with, it would be different. But it's every week, week in and week out, you see that they get in these games where if they get punched in the mouth, Green Bay will surrender and give you the game. They just will. And we saw that yesterday. I got to give it to Denver too, man. I didn't think much of them throughout the season. I'm not saying beat Miami is a big thing, but they find a way to get things done. And I got to say this, man, and I'm not blaming the Bengals, but it was tough to see that quarterback go down yesterday because this young man came out of LSU. He didn't mind playing for Cincinnati. And even before he got hurt, he was out there running, taking hits. I mean, he's the type of player, if you're going to have on your squad, that you're signing a rookie that you want, his mentality, he's out there. He's trying to make things happen, but he's in a situation that's just probably going to get worse. I mean, you got players who want to play with him. AC Green, let's be honest, bro. For the past 4 years, you only play half season, most seasons. You're not on the field all the time. You're not a top receiver. Shut your damn mouth. But he's on a team that players don't want him, and now he's going to be out for the rest of the year. So I was sad to see that happen to him, man. I didn't like that to see that at all. And I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. I'm not taking nothing away from the Dallas Cowboys, but you're at home with one of the top running backs in the league. You got to either do something. You can't let the Cowboys come in and spank you like that, bro. It just can't happen. It just cannot happen, but that's Minnesota. Whenever you think they're going to step up, they find a way to step down. And the Eagles, I'm not saying the Giants and the Cowboys are best, but the Eagles, what are you doing? What are you doing? You still think that quarterback is getting it done? It might be time to bring him home for it. It just might be time.
It's time to bring him in.
It's time. It's time to switch, man. This Wentz he had one good year, in my opinion. Beyond that, and it's going to sound kind of crazy to say, he's a bust, bro. Wentz is a bust. Let's just be honest. You let Foles come off the bench and win a Super Bowl and take control of that team. You have never been a leader on that team. It's time to think go elsewhere without him. The Eagles stink when he's at quarterback.
Yeah. I'm going to bypass that and go back to Joe Burrow. Didn't we say earlier that this is kind of bound to happen with that offensive line in Cincinnati, that he was going to get hurt? It was going to be a rough time. I remember at the beginning of the season, we were looking at that offensive line. This is going to be a rough go for him. And, I'm surprised he lasted this long with that offensive line. Hopefully he gets back. The knee injury is much worse than they thought. And usually, to me, I see a pattern, and maybe you two can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that when you have an ACL like that, you can come back the following year, but it's really kind of like a 2-year kind of process to get back where you need to get back as a quarterback. So his game may change a little bit when he comes back until he gets his feet under him. But that was a tough break for them. And it was cool to see some of the players that he played with Ohio State that play on the Washington football team come and give him their best wishes and things like that. So you can tell what type of player he is and what type of leader he is when the whole team is coming out there and wishing them well and still continuing to fight. I saw the Tennessee-Baltimore game, and you're right, Black. Tennessee just wore down. For Henry to win a walk-off just running play, and just run through your defense in overtime, your defense was worn out. They didn't want any more parts of Henry running. And he's a second-half running back. He gets stronger in the second half. Green Bay, I was watching that game, and as soon as it became 28-25, I turned because it just seemed like Green Bay was just giving up the game. And when you score 31 points in the NFL, you're supposed to win a game. You're supposed to have a defense that can hold that lead. And the Green Bay Packers just couldn't do it. And the offense seemed to be predictable. And when you have a running back for Green Bay that is only getting 41 yards out of the backfield, it's a problem. Jones had 10 attempts for 41 yards, 1 touchdown. You need to run the ball this time of season to run clock, to preserve leads, things of that sort. Aaron Rodgers had a great day, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, but it just wasn't enough to beat the Indianapolis Colts. And that defense, man, that defense came to play last night, especially in the second half. The other game that I watched last night was Kansas City and Las Vegas. And Mahomes is just I'm going to have to – I don't want to take the title away from Aaron Rodgers of being that bad man, but I got to take it and put it on Pat Mahomes. That's a bad – you give him a minute, and he just comes down. And I was telling Ice last night, we were talking last night about, when you give a quarterback like him 4, 5, 6 seconds to find another receiver, defensive backs can't hold their receivers more than 3 to 4 seconds. That's why they do the 40-yard dash, because you're supposed to be able to run 40 yards within or under 5 seconds or at close to 4 seconds as possible to get open. And he just bought himself time, hit the tight end wide open in the end zone. And you could just see it on Carr's face at the end of the game, like, we can't come back from this. This game is over. And they know that the Raiders really showed me a lot last night. And they know that the Raiders are the team that they probably going to have to beat in that division and in the playoffs again. The Raiders seem to have their number as far as offensively in that defense, and they pretty much showed it last night. But go back to Wentz. Yeah, man, it's time for Hurts to get in there and do his thing, man, because Wentz hasn't been Wentz since that injury. Since he came back, he just has not been the same player. You can see it. It's almost like a mental thing with him that you can just see it. Ice, who are you giving the game ball to this week?
Wow, there's a lot going on over there. I should give it to Andy Dalton, but I'm not.
Give it to Andy Dalton. He came back and balled out.
No, I'm not gonna give it to Andy Dalton. I'm gonna actually give it. I'm gonna give it to Joe Burrow, man. Real talk, because the factor that the way he went out. I mean, he's been playing hard all year long. He gave that team life, and just a crazy injury. And you pretty much knew he was done for the year. But this is a kid that says, I'll be back next year. See you guys next year. I love that in the spirit. You saw how people came to him, and he's a fighter. I mean, Cincinnati, and there's so many other teams that need somebody like that. So the game ball for me goes to Joe Burrow because the way that he plays and his attitude and the way he just doesn't give up, and it took a serious injury to knock him out. So kudos to Joe Burrow.
Black, who you giving the game ball to?
Ooh, this is gonna sound a little surprising, but I'm gonna give it to Taysom Hill on New Orleans Saints, man.
Wow.
I didn't think they was gonna start him, but he played well enough to get them to a victory. Granted, Atlanta Hawks, but they don't hawk Atlanta Falcons, but he played well enough. And it says something too about Jameson that they didn't even think to go to him. He didn't get no play at all. So it's like Jameson. I mean, I just, you would think that with those weapons, I would have probably went more to a drop back quarterback like Jameson, but they chose not to. And Hill got it done, man. I think he can maintain what Drew Brees out, especially if that defense could do what they did, because they basically in the second half took Atlanta offense right off the field. They took them right off the field. So if they could do that with him, it's a good possibility they can maintain the Drew Brees, if Drew Brees come back, because I'm not sure, they told him he's going to be back, another 3 or 4 weeks? A punctured lung at his age and those fractured ribs? I don't know. That's more beyond wishful thinking. Yeah, they coming after Brady right after gut. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
All right, I'm gonna give my game ball to a gentleman we just talked about for Carolina Panthers. PJ Walker went from the XFL to the NFL. This guy was undrafted by Temple University. He signed with the Colts on the practice squad. He was waived 12 times. Recommended by Andrew Luck to his dad, who was the XFL commissioner at that particular time. I know Ice and Black did not pay attention to the XFL because I whipped them in another league, and they won't talk about. And they're like the folks now that
Was
won't.
that real football? I'm sorry.
They won't certify my win. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You know, when did flag football become the NFL?
That's what's the goings on. Also, he became a XFL MVP front runner, and he signed with the Panthers and won the second string job, and he got his first W in his first start. So I'm gonna give him the game ball because that's a long journey.
Good job.
And a lot of us, I know when I was a kid, I wanted to play in the NFL, and if I had went through half of this stuff, I would have quit. This dude didn't never quit, and he finds himself as a winner in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers. Which the second game ball I'm gonna send out to is the Carolina Panthers defense that gave a goose egg to Detroit. We all picked Detroit, and they do this to. I'm sorry, Eddie Kelly. I'm sorry. I keep picking Detroit. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Here we go. Here we go. And when they win, you ain't saying you sorry. You sorry you picked them.
I'm lucky when they win. Black, any other thoughts on the NFL? I know we're going to be talking about that in our NFL picks on Wednesday. But any other thoughts before we move on to college?
Man, I gotta say, man, this is it's been a wild season because you figure, you know, they're pulling through, but even coming up this Thursday game, man, excuse me, the two running backs for the Ravens, this test positive, not gonna be playing.
Who?
Dobbins and Ingram.
Are you
They won't
serious?
even play. Yes.
Wow.
So they're not even gonna be. And the funny thing is, I got a funny feeling that if they just tested positive, especially Dobbins, he was out there yesterday, bro. Think about that for a second. He was out there playing. So it's like, it just came out today that he won't be playing Thursday. So even with that being said, the games, a lot of these games have been very competitive. They've been very strong. And I got to tip my hat to the NFL because no matter what you throw at them, they find a way to persevere, bro. They find a way just to keep it going, keep it moving.
First down.
Even our picks will show this week that we don't know what the hell we're doing sometimes because the NFL it's just too wild, baby.
First down. All right, Ice. Any other thoughts on the NFL?
Not really. I mean, things are happening. Like I want to get right back on that. They're not stopping for. They are not stopping for anything. They're trying to decide when the Super Bowl is going to happen. And if they were positive yesterday and were playing, you didn't know nothing about it. But as soon as they found out afterwards, it's a wrap. I'm telling you, they have got to get their money, and they're probably threatening people now. You better don't test positive. You're going to be out for the next 3 weeks. So the winners are probably like, look, hey, I'm telling y'all, we need you. So it's interesting from that standpoint. I think it's wide open still as far as the Super Bowl is concerned. You know, Pittsburgh is right where they are. They're undefeated. Kudos to them for that. But I think last night, Patrick and Andy, the good old vaudeville show shows you don't sleep. Don't sleep. Just when you think you got us, watch this. And there a lot of guys are not even healthy. Sammy Watkins is out. A few other things are not happening. Yeah. And if they ever find the right way to use Le'Veon Bell, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it seems like they haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, but they probably will have it by the time the postseason comes. You don't want to see them. And I know it's hard for a team to repeat, not saying they will, but they're going to be a tough out. Because, I mean, they have just begun to use Kelsey again. You know, it's often they have so many weapons that it's going to take a very serious effort to beat them somewhere down the line.
All right, Black. I was home on Saturday, and I started to look at the ticker in college football, and I saw that Ohio State was really handing it to Indiana. And so, you know, I'm not going to waste my time watching this game. And then all of a sudden I start seeing the score change. And I'm like, oh, man, this may be an interesting game to tune into. And I didn't text Ice because I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to irritate him. I know he's focusing on the game.
You know, bro, like that.
Give me your eye test, Black, or college football this week.
I'm gonna start there and kind of maybe stay there, man, because you've seen Indiana beat other teams, you see them progressing throughout the season, and even when Ohio State punched them in the mouth, They was like, we ain't scared of you. We ain't scared of you, man. They got a nice quarterback too. That quarterback that they have, that cat can play on Sunday. He can definitely play on Sunday at some point in his career because he's not bad. But as a team, I love the way they play, man. I love the way they play. Ohio State is tough. Don't get me wrong. Ohio State seems like things are a little different this year, and I'm not sure what. I don't know if it's the receiving core or what, but the team is as powerful as they used to be. I'm used to seeing it, but they're getting it done, nevertheless. But I'll stay with Indiana. Even though they lost the game, man, to be able to go toe-to-toe and almost come out with a win in Ohio State says a lot, bro. They don't back down. They're scruffy. They're there. And if they can maintain this and bring it into next year, they're going to be reckoned with. When the last time you heard an Indiana team doing this in football? The last time, I think the last time they were exciting to watch, I think Randall L. was their quarterback. You know how long that was in football, bro?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I tip my hat to him, bro. I tip my hat. It was an exciting game to watch. At halftime, I kind of thought it might have been over, but I was wrong.
All right, I'm gonna have Ice talk about Ohio State, Indiana. There's another Big Ten team that I want to see Ohio State play, hopefully in the Big Ten championship, is Northwestern, and they gave a beating to Wisconsin, who only has 3 games this season. I don't know how they're going to be ranked or whatever. They were ranked number 10. Northwestern was ranked number 19, and just power football them. Also, there was some great games, Oregon and UCLA. I think I text you guys on this game against Cincinnati and UCF. That was a good game, and Cincinnati outlasted them 36-33. But Ice, I'm going to give you your eye test of college football, starting with the Buckeyes of the Ohio State.
Well, you know, it's like anything else. I mean, you cannot take anything from Indiana. They came in, coaches, I like their coach. He's really fiery. He says, you know, we didn't come here to lay down. We're going to fight to the very end.
I like him. I can play for him.
That's what they did. So, I mean, and Michael Penix Jr., quarterback, 491 yards, really on point, 5 touchdowns. Then you had the wide receiver caught 3 touchdowns. They're on point. I know the coach went down and got a lot of players from Florida. It's a lot of guys that were not maybe the 5-star guys, a lot that still are left over. So that's his central recruiting ground now. And they showed you they were ready. Ohio State had 28-7 lead, and then they came back, and they were right there in the mix. I think early on, too, Ohio State was Justin Fields, for some reason, just seemed to be out of sorts. And rightfully so, because the Indiana defense was coming for him. But he was trying to do too much early on. If you're almost getting sacked, you know, you're playing quarterback, you just don't throw the ball up in the air like you're scared. You just take the sack if you want. But he was trying to do too much. But the one thing that really saved Ohio State is they made a few plays, like the pick 6 on defense. And then the other thing, too, that they did, too, was they ran the ball well. They started picking it up in the second half. They had over 300 yards rushing. And Field started to really calm down and use his weapons in the second half because I know people like that Chris Olave, but I'm a big Garrett Wilson fan. I think that dude's just going to be phenomenal in the slot when he hits the NFL. And he's just a sophomore. But the Ohio State was tested. Nobody thought they was going to come in and just dominate all the way through. A lot of people thought that, but it showed you how good Indiana is. And the main thing is for Ohio State is they survive. So that's what you do. You survive. Because now you survive and go all the way through being undefeated. You got left Illinois, Michigan State, and Michigan. Then you right in the mix as you get ready for the Big Ten championship, which might be Northwestern, who's very impressive by beating Wisconsin. So it'll be interesting if those two get together. Northwestern, they play old school football.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they can score enough points to play against Ohio State, but we'll see. I mean, Indiana came out firing. They did not stop or do anything like that, too. And I think Northwestern would like to slow the game down. Was impressed with that Oregon-UCLA game. Oregon's the team I don't think anybody's really talking about. You might want to be careful about them from the Pac-12. I like Oregon because they move the ball up and down the field, and they play kind of like, I'm going to say like SEC team, but you have to be able to score points. That's what people don't understand. When you get into that Final Four, you get up in that area, you have to be able, even if you mess up, you got to be able to score points, and that's like that about them. Cincinnati, I think they thought there was going to be a little easier ride for them with Central Florida, But no, Central Florida came to play, and they outlasted them. It's going to be, I think, unless somebody really loses, I think it's going to be hard for Cincinnati to crack that top 4. I really do. Because I think the way it's looking now, they're going to end up trying to say, if Notre Dame and Clemson meet again with the quarterback back and Notre Dame loses but stays close, they're going to find a way to put both of them in that 4. That's just me. I think
yeah, you and I talked about that last night. If they do meet again, they're going to have to just blow Notre Dame out to get them out the playoffs. That's got to happen. I want to go down the top 25, but I'm going to kind of throw you guys a question before I get the answer to it about Coach Dabo's comments about Florida State over the weekend not wanting to play the game. But in the top 25, Alabama is still number 1. Notre Dame is number 2. Ohio State is number 3. And they're almost kind of trying to put that matchup of Ohio State and Notre Dame, which I think would be a good matchup. And I'll be getting some Buckeye aware because I do not want Notre Dame to win that game. Then you have Clemson's number 4. And I think this is why Dabo's kind of saying this too, because he's running out of games for Clemson. And if Clemson has one more misstep, which they may have, then they may be out of the playoffs. Followed by Texas A&M, Florida. Florida is a pretty good team that a lot of people are sleeping on too. They have one loss along with Texas A&M, but those are SEC teams that you need to watch out for. Cincinnati, they were a little rocky in that game, and they outlasted the University of Central Florida, followed by BYU, Oregon. I agree with you on Oregon. They're a really good team, followed by Miami. Northwestern pops up 8 slots to the number 11 slot, followed by Indiana, that fell 3 slots after losing to the Buckeyes, followed by Georgia, Oklahoma, Iowa State. Coastal Carolina is number 16, followed by Marshall, Wisconsin. USC is undefeated at number 19, followed by Texas. I don't know about that, but Texas is there at number 20, followed by Oklahoma State, Auburn, Louisiana, Tulsa, and North Carolina, who's going to be playing Notre Dame this coming weekend. Any other thoughts, Black, of the college football?
I mean, no one's talking about it, but Alabama is just, I mean, that's typical, but it's like, who's going to really beat Alabama this year, man? That's the question. Yeah. Not necessarily a question, but this makes me wonder. I mean, other teams are looking good, but Alabama's just kind of like going about their business and nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, they got a nice running game, too, to back up that quarterback. Ice, any other thoughts on college football?
Yeah, just want to see how things are coming together. You mentioned some games. I think a big game coming up this weekend is Iowa State and Texas, because Texas is, things are still uncertain there as far as the coach is concerned. You mentioned Notre Dame, UNC, Maryland, and Indiana, stuff like that too. But I think overall, when it comes down to it, there's a big talk being made about the number of games a team plays, right? Mm-hmm. And I think what we're finding out is with all of these cancellations and kids getting sick and whatnot, the number of games may not mean as much as the quality of opponent in that regard. And everybody's making the deal, like they said, if the Big Ten doesn't play so many games, Ohio State doesn't play so many games and they're undefeated, then they shouldn't get in and all that other crap. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be quality over quantity of games.
Good point. Good point. Let's go to the NBA. And if you haven't heard our show called When Black Men Talk on Blog Talk and Spotify, on Spotify, it's When BLK instead of Black. When BLK.
I'm going to tell you, baby.
We discussed the NBA draft because we were on the air during the NBA draft. And there's some kind of things we noticed, some observations we made. So you want to check out Black Thor's and his True Identity, Mark Elliott show. Some of the things we noticed during the NBA draft. But the draft came and went. I want to get your opinions on the draft and free agency that's going wild. And it's almost like an Xbox game with some of these players going to different. I even saw that Boogie Cousins is going to Houston now. So maybe that'll keep Westbrook and Harden trapped shut. Stay in Houston. So there's a lot of things happening in the NBA draft, free agency with trades. So I'm gonna go to you, Black, with the NBA, man. Give me some of your thoughts about what you anticipate with some of these moves and some of the moves that surprised you.
Well, I was a little surprised that I was a little surprised that Minnesota did not take the gentleman first that I was kind of thought they was going to take for a splash. I was definitely surprised that Charlotte kind of took him where they did. I thought after that he was going to really drop like a rock, just kind of go down. But Charlotte stepped up and took him. And then this is what kind of really kind of surprised me. And I'm not sure what Charlotte is really trying to do, because I don't understand how you can pay Haywood $120 million for 4 years. I just don't get that. That one to me is just like, I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't understand. I mean, I just don't get it. And I know they want a talent there, but he cannot. He's proven to you cannot lead a team. And if Boston, for some reason, decided to let him go, you got to believe there's some reasons why Danny Ainge is letting him walk out the door. And partly because he can't stay healthy, and partly because when he was on the floor, he weighed the team down. He just did. They played better without him. And as to the coach's detriment, that happened. But that kind of surprised me. And the Knicks signing Doc's son, I don't care what you're paying him. I mean, I don't care what you're paying. Let's be honest. Ooh. How do you sign son? Ooh. It'd be realistic. I mean, let's be honest. Well, how do you
do? That's what they do.
I don't get it.
That's what they do.
I mean, I don't get it. I will say this though, man. This one kind of might have went way underneath the radar. Ibaka leaving Toronto, going to the Clippers, yeah. I think is a nice pickup for the Clippers, man. I think compared to what they lost with the other cat, I can't think of his name, going to the Lakers, I'll take Ibaka at cheap money any day, man. I think Ibaka works harder. He gives you more. Harrell is okay from time to time, but he wasn't consistent. Even throughout the bubble, his head wasn't there. So I think that was a nice pickup for the Clippers, man. The Lakers are reloading. I mean, they basically are just cutting people. Yeah, you know what? At some point, man, I'm going to give LeBron General Manager of the Year. He finds a way to do some things, and you look at him and go, wow. And it's interesting because I'll say this and get out of the way. I remember years ago when the guy that now is the general manager of the Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans, you thought his making moves? That was all LeBron, baby. Because there's no way if LeBron was with the Pelicans, Stan Van Gundy would get hired as a head coach. So that tells me right there and there that the general manager has nothing, they know what he's doing, and LeBron was dictating all the moves. But it's just interesting. I think Philly, in spite of anything, picked up a nice rookie, a nice in the draft person that can shoot outside, which says to me, you got to do something with that team. You just can't basically allow them to stay where they are. Somebody's got to go. Ben Simmons, somebody's got to get up out of there, to buy Harris, whatever, because you have to make some changes. But Doc was on TV that night. He didn't even look like happy being there, bro. Doc didn't even look happy. You would think he'd be ecstatic. Nah, he knows what's coming. Hey. Get your Tums ready, baby. Get your Tums, because you're going to need some answers coaching that team. I'm here to tell you.
Black, do you think Doc Rivers' son will wear the same jersey that Doc Rivers wore when he played for the Knicks?
Bro, I don't
Remember when Doc Rivers played for the Knicks?
Yes. I don't care if he played 3 zeros, but how? What have you seen? I mean, put all his tape on, run it, put it together, a montage, flip it around. What have you seen where he think that you can put a uniform on him and he's going to give you something? I mean, and that's what happens when you hire an agent and make him your general manager. How does that happen in the first place? How do you hire an agent? Think about this for a second. You take a basketball agent and say, you know what? Come run my franchise.
Yeah. Well, the thing I did like, 2 things I liked that the Knicks did. That the draft pick that they got for the first time in a long time, like, okay, Obi Toppin, I agree, yes. And then Miles Powell from Seton Hall, who's undrafted, bringing him on. Hopefully he will be out Doc Rivers, Miles Rivers or whatever. Hopefully he'll beat him out, because I always loved Miles Powell's game. and so and he's playing close to New Jersey. So hopefully that will pan out. But Ice, give me your eye test of the draft, the trades, and free agency, which is going. It's Christmas, almost around Christmas for some of these guys, almost hitting the $200 million mark.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I love it. I love chaos. I love the chaos of the free agency. Every time I turn around, it's like, oh, somebody, oh. I think it keeps it interesting, and you have a lot of people really hungry trying to go after that title. So that was interesting too. Was surprised though by what Minnesota did. I thought they was gonna follow Black's lead, but instead they went with the sure thing at the small forward for the betterment of the team. So I guess it was about trying to win instead of getting them dollars. But so I like that too. And James Wiseman going to Golden State was huge because of the factor that prior to Klay Thompson getting hurt, they need somebody like that. So they're going to be they made some moves. It was interesting as well. The rest of the draft, the selection of the forward for the Bulls at 4 surprised the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Because I know he's been coming up the ladder a little bit, but he at some point he wasn't even starting on the team. That's how loaded they were. That kind of surprised me. And Ball to Charlotte. You got 9 guards already down there with Graham and some other folks, but I guess they are about the money. So they're trying to get the show, as Black Thor said. So maybe that's what they're trying to generate some type of leverage there, so people get excited to come through and watch them again. The rest of the draft kind of went. It was okay. You saw some things going here and there. Phoenix surprised me though, because a lot of people got on them because of they picked the forward out of Maryland. A lot of people didn't like that because they already have Ayton. But I think you could put him in a position where he can learn a lot and give them a little depth. So that would be interesting. As far as the free agency goes, man, I don't know. The Houston Rockets, boy, they are in a pickle, seriously, because they've already, James Harden let it be known he won't be anymore. He does not want to be there. And I know they took the Black Thor stance. You in the contract. You can play when I tell you to play.
Thank you.
I'm ready to get rid of you. I decide. You don't get to decide. When I heard them say that, I was like, damn, that's Black Thor all the way. But what's happening is he's basically said he don't want to be there. But they're going to wait, I think, a little bit to see. They're trying to get as much as they can back for James Harden. One thing I don't think is going to happen, I might be wrong about this. I think they'd be crazy. Maybe they are. But I don't think you can let go of Harden and Westbrook. I think it's one or the other. And right now, I think they think it's going to be Harden because Westbrook is wants his own team. And if you get rid of Harden, then Westbrook has a team again, right? So maybe you taking one subtracting one so you can get to the other. That's what Westbrook wants in the first place, is his own team. So if they picked up Boogie Cousins, I don't know what's going to happen, but James Harden might end up somewhere else. I will say this. I thought Milwaukee would do better. I know they picked up Drew Holiday, and then the whole thing with Bogdanovich messing the whole thing up there. I was surprised by that. I still think they got a ways to go, and we'll see what happens with the Greek Freak. He'll probably end up staying, but I don't really see them making a major move against the East that's getting stronger as we speak. But a few other teams that I found to be interested, if nothing else, by what they did, I don't know what they're going to do as far as winning is concerned, is Atlanta. Atlanta picked up Rondo. And Rondo's not, he won the championship. He took the money, but he could be a good mentor for Trae Young. They picked up Chris Dunn, also Gallinari, and then they picked up Bogdanovich. So that's going to be a nice little something to run with. They may not win a lot, but it's going to come down to that. And as you mentioned, the Lakers reloaded. And Harold, say what you want to, he's still young. And he's going to love to be over there with LeBron, learn how to play the game that way. They picked up Wes Matthews, and they picked up Marc Gasol. He about 100.5, but Marc Gasol is steady. You don't have to do nothing. You got Marc Gasol, you got Harold, and then you got Anthony Davis. They just took slots out and put some other people in. And Marc Gasol didn't have to play a lot. He's not going to need to play a lot. So I think that's a big thing too. And even though New Orleans is probably going to mess it up because Mr. Van Gundy's down there coaching, they got lucky with picking up Steven Adams. Steven Adams at center is going to be solid from OKC. And last but not least, even though they have a long way to go, Phoenix picking up Chris Paul, and I saw they just signed Jay Crowder. Mm-hmm. Jay Crowder went from Miami. And last but not least, I know y'all been pushing, especially you've been pushing Portland forever, saying they're going to do this and that. They did want to make one good move. You might laugh at this, but they were able to reacquire Enes Kanter.
I think that's a good move too.
Damn good move, because he played the best basketball in his freaking NBA career, and they got rid of him. They had him and another big guy that kind of helped them have like a three-headed monster in the post, and that allowed the guards to kind of do what they needed to do. When they went away from that and they tried to focus on just the guards, it hurt them, and he really wants to be there. So, I mean, he didn't do great. He wasn't great at Boston, but at least he's going to step up there because he wants to be there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
I'm trying to figure out what the Lakers are trying to do, because it seemed like they gotten slower with the acquisitions they got. Are they trying to be a more offensive team? I don't know about how they're going to be on defense. I don't know if the chemistry is going to be right with some of the players they cut and then they're bringing in. I know they got rid of JaVale McGee. They got rid of Howard, Rondo. Those are three older guys and three slower guys, but I don't see that they're replacing with any guys that are speed demons for the West, because the West, they like to run up and down the court. They like to shoot threes. And the only player that I can see doing that is maybe Wes Matthews, who has a high percentage in shooting threes, and maybe Schroeder at that guard position, exchanging him for Rondo, because Rondo, he did shoot well in the bubble, but you can't count on that throughout the whole season. So can any of you kind of explain what you think the Lakers are trying to do? Because everybody's saying reload, but I'm like, I don't know. Black?
Well, I think in essence that if you look at Schroeder coming in, you lose. I think he's going to help them. I mean, he's not a bona fide three-point shooter, but he can kind of do some things defensively. He can score from time to time. Only thing they did to me, I would have kept Howard. I'm not sure about the chemistry. I would have kept Howard just coming off the bench. I'm not big on getting Marc Gasol. I'm just not. I mean, I know he doesn't have to play much, but to me, I think he's going to slow you down some. I don't see what's there. But I'm going to say this real quick, man. And I want, you're my time to ice. How is Gennady still in this league, bro? How? He's getting signed.
I think they like him for his shooting.
What?
Yeah, he has a high percentage of shooting, man.
You don't shoot nothing. I'm done. I remember when he was in the Knicks uniform, we did the same thing. Yeah. You don't have a high percentage if you don't shoot the ball 4 times.
Welcome to Atlanta, baby.
Stay away from Magic City and them lemon chicken wings. But Ice, what are the Lakers trying to do?
Well, I mean, but you mentioned about Schroeder. I mean, that's solid there. Gasol, like I said, is not going to play a lot. He's just going to be like somebody to come out the bench, whatever, do that. But the main thing for them was re-signing KCP, man. Really. KCP showed a lot. He showed a lot of dog. He showed that he's ready, and he was hungry to get there, and I think he's going to help them a lot. Wes Matthews as well. And I think just teaching, I think the issue was with Harold, even last year. Doc Rivers just let that team just run crazy without anybody guiding anybody. Harold needs to be mentored. And if nothing else, Anthony Davis and LeBron can grab him and put him up under their wing and teach him the right way to play, especially on a championship basketball team. And I think that's what he was missing, which is why he probably ran that opportunity to go over there. So they may not be as fast as what they were, but the one thing about the Lakers is they won. And so you can say speed and they get up and down, but the Lakers, in fact, that's why LeBron was mad the previous year when he got hurt and he wasn't able to be in the playoffs or whatever happened. They're looking for intelligent players. That's what got them over this time in the bubble. They had certain times, Miami had young guys, Hero and Johnson shooting threes, and everybody's excited, feeling they was going to do this, and bam. But when it counted, the older players they had and the smarter players literally shut all that noise down when they needed to against Miami. It was no contest. It was Jimmy Butler and the Miracles, and they simply you could say punked them. They just outthought them and they outplayed them because of the veteran leadership. And I think that's what the Lakers are looking for now. Because you notice who they brought in, they didn't really bring in a bunch of somebody out fly by night guys. They brought in guys that will put work in, fall in line, follow the protocol, and allow them to hopefully keep winning. That's what it's all about for them. And I think that's why they did what they did.
One of the things, one of the stories that got out this week that really pissed me off was John Wall saying he wanted to be traded. Can you remember the last time John Wall played for the Wizards?
It's been a couple years.
And they gave him that big contract before he got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you even put your lips together to say, I want to be traded? Dude, they ain't got their million, they ain't got their money's worth yet. How do you come together and put your lips together, say, I want to be traded, when you haven't played in almost 2 years? Can somebody explain that to me?
It's the ego of the NBA player, bro. I mean, it's the same thing. And I know, don't get me wrong, Harden has the right to say what he wants to say, but I think a lot of these players confuse life, reality with the 2K game. And they think it's just that easy. They don't for some reason, they don't take a step to understand the business logic behind what goes on in basketball. So he's in his feelings. The team is basically making movements. And he's one of those cats, he's kind of done this before, maybe not said this, but whenever they play without him and go without him and they don't honor him and talk about him, he does something stupid. He says something stupid. And that's what it is now. They haven't really been talking about him. Avery Bill is getting, the other guard is getting much more attention, notoriety, so he gets mad and he acts like a little kid. I don't know how you can trade him. He hasn't played. That's another thing. To say that and you have him, what team is trading for you coming off injury? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a GU, another unit. I don't get it. How do you think you come off energy and think the team can actually trade you? It just says where your head is.
Wow. Ice, can you explain this to me? Why he even put his lips together and say, I want to be traded? And he hasn't even, in 2 years, hasn't even honored the contract. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid.
No doubt. But as you mentioned, it's the mentality of the NBA player. The players are the ones that they're the showpieces in the league. These players, most of them choose where they want to play, especially the top players. And let's be real, the Wizards for years have been doing the same thing, making bad mistakes, picking up bad contracts. Doing from the standpoint of watching guys play, they picking up contracts like picking up the contract of Nene from Houston. We waited 29 years for him to show up. Still didn't show up. And it's just bad contracts. And you gave Bradley Beal and you gave John Wall these contracts. And then after a while, you started pitting them against one another. And you said one guy's better than the other. And then Bill played pretty decent. But then after a while, you question whether or not what his leadership looks like. So, John Wall is a loose cannon. We know how he can be at times. But I think they let him do it. So, of course, he's going to act a fool. That's the MO. That's what they do. When you set up the culture, and that's how you've been treating him, no matter what he does, he can do no wrong from the standpoint of you accept a lot of things. You accept his behavior the way that it is. It's crazy. Because I heard they were talking before about possible John Wall for Westbrook trade. They're talking about that. So, but it's the culture, it's the way that it is. So that's how they operate. And Washington is, it's almost like a dumpster fire. You feel bad for Hoochie Mama out there, as far as like playing young guys that really can play. They just need somebody to guide them and help them. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, but I understand what you're saying, but what else? So what is Washington going to do? What you going to do? You going to keep him and just keep?
I'm going to make him honor his contract. We paid you a lot of money. You sat there in the press conference talking about this is where you want to be.
Okay.
And you ain't been to work. It's almost like you give me a salary, you give me money, My money's hitting the, direct deposit every day, but I ain't going to work.
But that's part of him.
I want to work over here now. I got paid all this money from you. Now I want to go work over here now because I don't like how slow it hit my account.
Well,
I don't know.
That's him testing you though. What you gonna do as a general manager and owner? That's what it is.
No, you better report for training camp at this particular date. That's it. That's it.
But most of them,
money's worth, you better report to camp.
Most of them give in. So of course they're gonna test you. You own the team. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a general manager. You make the call. Make them come and play. You're right. I get that. But to sit up here and act like they not gonna test you, that is not happening, and that they do not, basically play up to these guys and put them in a position, then you expect them to be, he's supposed to be the righteous dude? Hell no, man. They've turned this all the way around. There was a time when the general managers controlled the teams. The good general managers are the guys who created dynasties and teams won championships. Now it's flipped. LeBron started it. Now everybody wants a 2-year contract. Everybody wants their own squad. Okay, Durant, all right, you and me and Kyrie gonna go over here. You want to play with us? That's how it is. It is totally flipped. It's totally flipped. And you got these retread coaches coaching these young players, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. I want to see what's going down in New Orleans. Because you got Eric Bledsoe. That's like, and Van Gundy with them young cats. Oh man, I'm gonna just tune in for the comedy, bro. You know that's oil and water. He old as hell. He's the same dude that messed up winning the championship, and now he gonna come in and try to be all right, guys. Can you imagine him trying to tell Eric Bledsoe something?
Bro, I'll just. Puma has pulled a Black Thor about honoring your contract, man. I've been saying that for 40 years. You probably just pull a Black Thor.
Like you a union man. You a union man, so you understand.
I'm just saying, man. There's something to be said when you sign a contract and you're here. And that contract doesn't mean when days are good, okay, you show up. No, it means there's a length on there. Now, they can decide to trade you, but that's when you might understand the business. And I said, LeBron has, LeBron does some things I'm not fond of, but when it comes down to business, LeBron handles his business. You realize, okay, I'll sign the year, which gives me the option. You do these long-term deals, you give away your rights, your options, so you can't come back Harden halfway through the deal. I want to play. No one's listening to you, bro. You got to think beforehand and determine, have some foresight to know what might happen later. But no, you're so big to get the big contract and think, I'm good, to where you don't think this. So it's that short sight mentality, and that is the problem. But you're right about New Orleans, man. It's going to be ugly there, bro. It's going to be ugly, man. That's going to be ugly. Van Gundy, could you imagine? What's name is probably going to try to miss half the season. The kid from Duke, he didn't want to play under that. I'm telling you, it's going. Either they're going to, by 2 months into the season starts in December. I'm gonna say by February they're gonna quit on him, or he's gonna get fired. One or two. They ain't making a whole year. It's not making a whole year. It's no way they're making a whole year. I could be wrong. I don't see it. That young and Bledsoe. Woo! How do you trade for him in the first place? That's another move to gentleman. How do you trade for Bledsoe? Seriously? You gave up Drew Holiday for Bledsoe.
Wow. We're going to talk about boxing on another date because there's some fights that I want to get the guys' opinion on who they're looking forward to see. There are some fights coming up later this month that we're going to be talking about. But I want to start off by doing the questions from the squad, and I want to go back to the Dabo question. Dabo Sweeney, who said that he kind of chastised Florida State Ice about them not playing the game. And the Florida State coach came back and said, listen, we don't determine that. We don't determine that. Coaches aren't doctors. It was a protocol set in place, and they said that if we can't come into agreements on how we're going to proceed with these protocols, then the game is canceled. My opinion, I think Dabo is, to me, he wanted to have this season because of money. And I think he's seeing that his chances of getting into playoffs is slipping if he doesn't prove that his team is worthy of one of those 4 spots. Your thoughts about this situation with Dabo kind of chastising Florida State?
Yeah, well, let's be real. Dabo wants to be in the 4. And not only does he want to be in the 4, he wants to be in the correct position. Because you know what number 4 mean, right?
Yeah.
You number 4 in the 4,
Play
you
number
play
1.
Alabama. You playing Alabama. You don't want to see that this year. You don't want, as you guys mentioned about how Alabama's looking, you don't want to see Alabama. He want to be in, if he doesn't, he's probably not going to be 1 because they've already lost, but he wants to be 2 or 3. He does not want to see Alabama. So, of course, he's going to fight all the way, any way he can, in order to move forward and make sure that they're in the 4. And then if he can find a way to be in the top 3, that's even better for him. So, and they're the same type of group that's complaining that Ohio State may not play enough games. What?
Yeah.
Well, who cares? It's about quality. That's another thing. So you scared. You scared all the way around. You may not have it like it was before. And your quarterback comes back. Hopefully he's ready. He's not rusty. But, yeah, straight up, they do not want to see Alabama. They don't want to be number 4. So he's going to do everything. He's like, all right, y'all scared to play? We need y'all. What you mean? Yeah, I mean, it's always some drama. I'm so tired of that. Play the game, man. Quit being scared. You play Alabama, play Alabama. Like when they connected some other teams before, you got to play the games the way that they see you have to, your schedule says you got to play.
You know what, Black? If Notre Dame and Clemson play in the ACC championship, I'd probably be rooting. It's the first time you hear me on the show saying this. I'm going to be rooting for Notre Dame. I'm going to be rooting for Notre Dame over Clemson in this one.
Yeah, that was a low blow there, man. I mean, if anything that was not, if around the country, if the virus wasn't spiking, okay, come on. Realistically, this shouldn't be a college football season. Let's be honest. I've been saying that for the past several weeks. So it just shows me when you come out and make a statement like that, you don't give a damn about the Florida State players, bro. I mean, I know you're supposed to beat them, but you don't care about the Florida State players at all. You more care about what's going to happen to you and your program. But to me, he's no different than Coach K, Mike K down in Duke. Some things he said. It's like all these guys are worrying about their legacy, about this and that. And I mean, I'm just hoping that Black parents and Black kids that are thinking about going to these schools are sitting back and realize this is the mentality. A lot of these big schools, this is the mentality. They don't care about your kid. They don't care. They're making $6 million a year. They want to preserve that and keep that going, bro. $6 million or more. They don't care. The Sabins, all of them. You think, I mean, I know most of these Black parents are sitting around, I want my kid in a fast track to the NFL. And that's what it is. That's what they're thinking, a fast track to the NBA. So if you want to pimp your kids to these partial slave owners, feel free to do so. But they're showing you. The majority of kids on FSU, what color are they? Florida State, what color are they? Yep. Let's be honest. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Ice, first question, man.
Yeah, my first question is, I don't know if y'all been watching the football games, but why, and this is a little obscure, why do you think that when they show the crowds, right, they pan to the students in there in the student section with their mask on, but then they pan right away and like there's a bunch of kids with no mask on. I mean, didn't they get the memo?
I noticed that.
Staying safe. Why wouldn't you just keep the kids with the mask on? Why are you showing the kids not the mask? And that's what the people are like, what the hell's going on? Help me with that.
Like, I
think that you're speaking of college football. I think you're talking about college. Yeah. There's always been a thing with college sports where you want to show the fans as being crazy and wild. It's just what it is. You want to show them out of control. They're wild. They don't care. I mean, especially in college basketball. Dookie, baby. And they always want to show these kids as they're not stable. It's a time in their life where they can do things and we don't question it because they're college kids. And I think that mentality is what's with the producers of these games, because you're right. Why are you showing these kids with no mask on? I mean, especially if you're not going to comment about it. So why are you showing them? But they want to show that there's that section of college kids is throw everything to the wind. And, it's that college frenzy. And it's not. It's ridiculous.
I shake my head every time I see. I think in Brooklyn there was a gathering. I think in an Orthodox kind of religion, where they were just packed to the hilt. And I just have to shake my head that after all this time, after all these people have died and people are suffering out there, and what it's doing to our globe, that people aren't taking this seriously. I just don't get it. So I have no answers on why they're doing that. I just don't have any answers to it. But if you notice, if you've been keeping up on the reports, some of these kids, if they test positive before they leave the campus, they got to stay on campus. They can't go back home. They can't go back home for the holidays. And so I know in Notre Dame, when they won against Clemson, they had the students rush out in the field. A lot. They had the outbreak. They were one of the first universities that had the outbreak when the season was supposed to start, when the kids start coming back to campus. And for the life of me, I can't understand why people are continuing to ignore scientists, doctors, people advising them not to travel, all this stuff. You're just going to make it worse. It's almost like people are just watching a television show and saying, oh, that doesn't apply to me because it's not even real. And it's almost like this is a one big Netflix kind of mini series that's going on, and everybody thinks that, you know, I could just turn the TV off and it doesn't apply to me. But it's kind of just crazy when you just see people kind of ignoring and not really trying to err towards safety. I've always been the one that says, if I'm going to make an error, I'm going to make an error towards safety instead of making an error towards, you know, something that could be dangerous to me. But it just seems like people are like, you know, whatever. If I've heard students on TV say, hey, if I get it, I get it, with no regard to what that really means until you actually get it. And then you realize it's a life-threatening disease. I've seen stories where Trump supporters have gotten it. And they're laying in their deathbed saying, I can't die, this is a hoax. And those are their last words. So I don't have any answers for you, Ice, about why people are really ignoring this and not really taking it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I'm looking and I'm like, and my thing is, as a producer, right, it's your job. I understand about the wildness and whatnot, but it's your job to try to set the tone for an example and to make sure it's kind of like safe. So everybody like, oh yeah, look at those kids doing the right thing, all that other stuff. But then you turn around and you just got kids on their phones and they're not even, I don't even know they even got a mask in their purse.
Mask around their necks.
Yeah, like they ain't even caring. I'm like, damn, don't you know that the people at home are watching this going? Now that's the reason why they don't have no fans in the stands at certain schools, because just that certain behavior. And then with the COVID cases rising up too, and if you don't know, at some of these political gatherings, people dying after 10 days after being at these gatherings, and then you're gonna share that? I don't get that at all. I'm sorry, I'm lost on that. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess they like, oh well, and then they go back to it again. They show it like twice. I'm like, okay, and then of course they would show it, and I'm gonna leave this alone. I ain't even gonna say that. The ones that they did anyway. I'm gonna move on. All right, go ahead.
You know I'm gonna ask you, Black, your question, man.
You know, it's interesting, man. I saw an article recently, I guess because what's been happening this past weekend, some players that I mentioned earlier with the Ravens. But it makes me, you know, it's kind of a two-part question. The NFL now wants the players on the sideline to wear masks. And it was only mandating the coaches before. And I'm wondering, why wasn't this instituted before? Why you got the coaches walking around masks, but the players aren't wearing a mask? And I'll leave it there. That's really the question. Why now, all of a sudden? Because maybe the players are starting to come down with it, but why were the players available to be on the sideline, close and gathered, there's no 6 feet separation, and not wear masks? But now you want them to wear masks.
I think I got to answer that. Ice?
Numbers don't lie, bro. Numbers are spiking. People in trouble, and it's hard to hide them who's testing positive, whatnot. So, and then it's the NFL. They make their own rules. We know that. They make their own rules. So it's like, okay, then they had to fine the coaches because they weren't wearing the mask. Now they putting the mask on, and the players walk around like, oh, whatever. But then again, you turn it around, and I'm gonna tell you something. They were walking around like it's no big deal, but now the front office is coming down. It's like, too many of y'all tested positive. You better put that damn mask on, because I'll be damned if you're gonna mess up my Super Bowl. I'll be damned. You better bring your son out here or whoever, your cousin-in-law. We're gonna have a Super Bowl. So I really think they just said our bottom line is, you know what it is, and if we don't play football, certain players, you ain't getting your check. And we know how they feel about them coins.
Honestly, Black, I think that they are not honestly reporting who has this virus and who doesn't in the NFL. And if those numbers start to come out and these folks start really getting sick, because I've been noticing this, that certain players, they'll have under the virus injured reserve. You know, you'll see it that floating down there every now and then. I don't think they're doing it honestly because they don't want to mess up this money. And just like I said, the NFL makes up its own rules on how they're going to handle this. And they keep rolling on. I don't think they're honestly reporting, because you can't tell me, you just talked about two of the running backs for the Baltimore Ravens. You can't tell me they weren't positive on that field Sunday. You can't tell me they weren't positive on that field Sunday. And then now they know it now, and now they can't play on Thursday. So you think they're going to cancel that Thursday game? All the contact those guys had with other players and players on other teams, you think they're going to, those 3 games on Thanksgiving, you think they're going to cancel those games? They're going to take some players out, but they ain't going to cancel the whole show. So I think they're not really reporting honestly. And I said that about the NBA and the bubble too. I don't think they're reporting honestly about them because they don't want to mess up their money. And if the marquee players get it, they're going to be messing up their money.
To me, I look at it as that, man, that I know it's spiking, but if you're going to make the coaches wear in their sideline, and if you're serious about it, which we know they're not, the players should have been wearing masks all the time, bro. But I guess they feel they're tackling each other and not wearing masks. Then, okay, I get it. But it's almost like, and I'm not going to say this, but it almost feels like the players are being expendable, but the coaches are not. And that's kind of the way I look at it, bro. It's like, if you chose not to opt out and play, hey, we'll take a chance with you. The coaches, we got to have you in the sideline. We just need you. So they looked at the players until now, you're expendable. But there's so many of them starting to pop up with it, so now they're trying to take steps.
Yeah, because it's going to hit somebody real hard. It already hit Cam Newton. They couldn't get around it, and so I think it's more of an epidemic than they're saying it is. And okay, we got to calm this down, so everybody got to wear it. Aisha, got another question?
Yeah, my question is this, and maybe I'm lost on this, or maybe they just didn't move. They moved forward. But whatever happened to spring football?
For college?
Yeah, whatever happened to spring college football? Is that still a thing, or is that no longer a thing?
Black?
I don't know. That's a good question, bro. I think you couldn't have it this year. I don't know. And to me, that was more so for just the hype locally to kind of get things going. So I think it'll come back next year if things get better. But yeah, that was more so for the hype for universities to kind of, it's almost like a cheerleading type of thing, shake the pom-poms. And of course, this year you just couldn't do it.
I think I saw that some leagues were going to look at doing it, but they weren't really prominent teams that were doing it. So maybe Division II, some Division I leagues were going to do it that didn't participate this year. So I think I read somewhere where they still are open to the possibility of having spring football, especially for those players that are, I guess, going to be in the draft or things of that sort, and they have a chance to get in the draft to kind of showcase their talent in a reduced schedule. So have you heard anything about it? Because I know that's what I read.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I mean, that's my point. When the Big Ten was on the cusp of having a delay, along with the Pac-12, that's all you heard. What we gonna do? Are they gonna be able to pay for the championship and everything? Then everybody, 45 came in, got everybody straightened out. allegedly, right? So, so he got everybody straightened out, and Ohio should be glad that he straightened it out because they're playing football again. But the whole premise of it was now everything's straightened out, and you don't hear anything else about the spring football. I was like, what happened? I mean, there's some teams that didn't play, right? There's some conferences that shut everything down. I'm like, well, the hell with them, huh? They don't make enough money. So if they play good, if they don't, moving on, baseball's coming up. It's like they just disregarded the rest of these other teams or these conferences. I'm like, man, that went from 0 to 60 real quick. What?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if HBCUs did spring football because I miss watching HBCU football this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did spring and turn that on in the spring. Black, you got a question?
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I think this week of Thanksgiving slate of football games, NFL's got to get to the point where they can flex some teams in and flex teams out of No longer. I'm serious, man. You no longer show the trade line. You just can't do it, man.
Detroit playing, Cowboys and Washington playing.
You can't.
You got Steelers and Baltimore playing the night game.
You can't. I mean, it's just, and I'm not trying to take a swipe at the Cowboys. I'm not. But for this reason alone, if you look at until the Ravens and Steelers play, do you really want to see those two games? Let's be honest. I don't care how much turkey you done ate. I don't know how much stuff you done had in you. I don't care how much booze you done drunk. You don't want to watch that. Come on, let's get real, man. I mean, seriously, it's time. I know it's been a tradition. It's time to basically 2 weeks in advance decide. I mean, whatever teams we have matched, flex in. You could do it. Flex them in for Thanksgiving. You flex teams in a certain period of time of the year to Sunday Night Football. It's time to start flexing games for Thanksgiving. True or false?
Ice, I know there's a basketball game happening, Kansas and Gonzaga that day. So that's what I'll be watching instead of some of the freak shows in the football NFL.
I don't know. I mean, this reminds me of something you asked earlier. You talking about they need to make changes with moving people. I told you, certain things are just what it is. And it's going to take some very strong individuals to move. You know how long the Cowboys been playing football on Thanksgiving? Are you kidding me?
I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. Detroit, yeah, maybe. Dallas Cowboys? Come on, man. You got Pittsburgh on there. What else you want? The world's team, right? Okay. Are you kidding me? Man, please. You know how much money they probably made? You either love the Cowboys or you hate the damn Cowboys, but you're tuning in. It's like boxing and Floyd Mayweather. You want to see him get his butt whooped or you wanted to see him win. That's what it was. People tune in. And now the Cowboys, I'm not saying they're any better. They're not. But somebody who's going to be having their big old turkey leg watching Dallas. The only thing missing is Pat Summerall. Hell. Rest in peace.
Man, call me conspiracy brother, but what was the Washington team called before they changed their name and they played against the Cowboys? And ain't it ironic that they played on Thanksgiving?
Yep. Not a football team.
Yeah.
The Cowboys. There you go.
So they ain't taking that off. They just want to grind it in that day celebration, which was a massacre. But I don't think it's going to happen because it's kind of a tradition. And it's the NFL. They know that they have a captive audience that day, and you're going to watch it whether you want to or not because most of the guys ain't out there cooking. So they got to have something to do while everybody's around there making sure the potato salad's okay and keep whoever from putting raisins in potato salad and a sweet potato pie and all this other stuff. So the men get out the way, and that's what we do. We get out in the yard, we talk, we drink, we eat, and we watch football, no matter how bad the game is. And you're going to fall asleep in the game anyway because you're going to get the itis. So I don't think they're going to change it at all. It's a tradition. They've been coming on since I can remember, and it hasn't changed since then. I am 54 years old. I don't anticipate it changing another 54 years from now. It's going to be those same teams. They are willing to play on Thanksgiving, so they give it to them. Black, you really think they can change it?
I don't know, man. I would have said the same thing a while ago, but I'll say this. I remember Thursday Night Football a few years ago, and the ratings were down. And NFL, you see what they did with Thursday Night Football. They started making the games more competitive. I mean, look at the last 2 weeks of Thursday Night Football, the teams that played. So to me, if this Thursday, if the ratings sink, and there's no way you can't tell me it's not going to sink for the Detroit Lions game. I'm just sorry. There's no way. People are going to.
You can't watch the first game. It's the first game.
It's going to sink, bro. It's going to sink. I'm just going to say. And if it's synced during the Cowboys game, you're going to hear the talk start. It's just basically common sense with knowledge of Arbitron ratings of that nature. You have to at some point start to put a good product on Thanksgiving because it's just you. I know you said it's a college basketball game taking place, but NFL, you have Thursday, Thanksgiving all to yourself. And at some point you owe it to put your best thing, just like on Sunday night. You try to put your best game there, you flex into the latter part of the season. When it's the latter part of the season, you got to start flexing in. It all going to depend because I think you two make a good strong point that people will watch regardless. But in case they don't, if they don't, and I'm not watching, they don't.
How many of are you in your household?
No, I'm just saying I'm not watching. I'm hoping more people feel like me because there's no way in the world I could watch Washington play Dallas this year. I don't even know Detroit playing. I can care less.
I'll probably be sleeping during it, but it will be on. So they'll get my little rating. Last second shot, Ice.
Yeah, I just want to know what he's gonna be watching. You must have a fire stick. But anyway, you have a fire stick or something. Anyway, but
Debbie does Dallas.
You're on the right thing. Last second shot. Let me just say this. With the COVID cases going up and everything spiking, I find it ironic that, and I know they're doing it because they want to get out the way before the end of the year, but a lot of the schools, the colleges are sending students home early, right? So they're kind of finishing up and sending them on their way. And I know what they're talking about because of the cases are spiking, but how ironic is that though? So basically that some of the top universities, including the Ohio State University, the students are going to be leaving soon. So the only people on campus is going to be the football players and the football coaches and the staff. They are setting this up, in my opinion, to get ready for that damn fourth so they don't have no interruptions. So now we all stay together, we all test, there's no other distractions because we are getting ready because we got to have our college football playoff. I don't know about March Madness, but I know they're trying to get that four and the final four of the college football player. They sending all the kids home, cleaning it up, tightening it up. So who's available to play? Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Everybody's going to be healthy. Now let's watch the game.
Good point. I got a movie for you to watch during the game, Black. Remember the movie Hots? Your last second shot.
I have some of my own movies I might watch, baby.
Hey, let me throw this real quick at you. There's a great one called Sweetback.
Oh yeah, Sweetback's badass. Oh yeah, I got that one.
Oh man.
Yeah. But Hot, that was our movie back in the day on Showtime.
I'm gonna take this time out, my last second shot, man, to say that this year has been really a topsy-turvy year. If you kind of, made it to where you are right now, really be thankful. Be thankful to people that are around you. Realize that nothing's promised, nothing's guaranteed. But for some reason, we have been chosen to survive. All the craziness going on, we really have a lot to be thankful for and give thanks.
Good shot. My last second shot goes out to Steph Curry, who donated millions of dollars, and he's doing it over the years to help Howard University with their golf program. The ironic thing about it is that Howard University didn't have a golf program, but he wanted to donate the money to them to start one because of how the game helped him keep his focus, being disciplined, and he wanted to share that with Black students at a HBCU. So kudos for that. That's our show. We will be back on Wednesday to give you our picks. Man, I had a rough week in the picks. I ain't even looking at nobody else. I had a rough
Your week rougher than mine is the question.
That's going to be the question tonight. That's going to be the question tonight. Because if you lose tonight, oh, baby boy.
Right now, 17-14. I'm looking at you, Ice.
Look, you know what? I'm going to say this before I go. I ain't even worried about you, bro. Look. You ain't even, so if that's what you had, you can have tonight. You don't even matter.
Water is starting to come off the cube.
Look, you can have it. I don't even care. I'm going to go downstairs and give me a blow pop. I ain't even worried about it, bro.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Make it stop. Make it stop. I gotta find that movie hot. You ever seen that movie, Ice?
Yeah. I was about to say part douche.
Oh. Man.
Me and Black brother used to sit up late at night watching that. I used to stay over their house late at night because I ain't have Showtime cable.
Oh.
It was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching that.
There you go.
That freaked me out. I was sitting here, I think, editing the show, and I'm like, I stopped it, and I'm like, no, she didn't. No, she didn't.
Custom made.
Custom.
Rocking it.
I ain't mad at her. That lets you know she been down. She down forever. If she rock that cloth like that, she ain't going nowhere. She don't damn. She down for life. You might as well wife her because she down for life.
They get a pretty face, sit there, and you don't even know why she on the show.
Thank you. I mean, it's like, that's what, hey, hate to say, but that's what they do in the TV world, bro.
But we're not saying that's everybody.
No.
Let's clarify that. That's not everybody.
Because Fox does that, with Shannon Sharpe and Billis.
Oh yeah, come on. Let's be honest, man. The sister that's on First Take and the sister that's on, or the woman that's on with Shannon, and they don't need to be there, bro. Let's be honest. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's an insult that they sit up there and what they do.
They have no comments or
nothing.
They add nothing to the show, but just
yes. It's an insult. It really is. I mean, it's. Hey, I'm sure they're getting paid well, but for me, even as a man, I look at them like it's not necessary. They offer nothing.
I remember
nothing at all.
Jemele Hill and Michael Smith, they went back and forth. That was, that was great.
He's on NBC now.
He's on. She's doing a podcast. He's doing, I think, a show on the Peacock Nation.
NBC. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's good to see.
I always enjoyed them going back and forth because they would, they would battle. They have different views. They would push up against each other, and I don't agree with this and stuff. And that was, I thought that was one of my favorite shows, other than Pardon the Interruption. Those were the only shows that show and the show with Tony and Michael. Those are the only shows I would watch because
I respect Mike and I like Mike, but it's time for Pardon the Interruption to go south, bro.
You think so? I like Tony Kornheiser.
That's everything runs its course, baby. At some point, we're gonna run our course, but everything runs its course. It is time for that show to go, man. I can't even.
I like Tony Kornheiser.
If not, you got to put some more makeup on Tony because I can't see that. I looked at him the other day. If that man looked like death walking, I'm just being honest with you, bro.
You're like none of the old guys on your.
Come on, man.
You went after my boy. Who's that?
Chris Berman with the comb over?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You went after him.
Come on.
You going after Tony Kornheiser?
They're down to 3 seconds with Chris Berman. Cut it out, man. It was good years ago. Let it go. Move it out the way. They gonna stick Booger up there just to sit there like this. Come on, bro. Stop it. And another thing, the Monday night crew they have now doing Monday Night Football is an absolute joke. Joke.
Who's on the crew?
The rest of them?
Who's on the crew? I don't watch the pregame. I don't watch.
If you look, the commentators on Monday Night, that's a joke, man. That's an absolute joke. You know what? Take them off the boot. Let's just listen to the game. I'll be honest with you. It's that bad. I guess it's the same ones that thought that the tight end from the Cowboys would be good to put in the booth. Are you kidding me? Cut it out.
Troy Aikman? Because they took Booger out and put him in college, which he works better there.
Yeah.
I gotta double down on something you say, man. Troy Aikman is not saying much of anything anymore. No, he's not. He just repeats himself. Yeah, this player here, I'm starting to like. It's the same. Troy, you're saying some of the same cliches you said 10 years ago, man. How about really giving us something that's going on with the game, something that we may not be picking up? That's why you may not like it. That's why Tony Romo is doing what he does, because Tony finds nuances in the game that you just may not see. He's bringing to light. And not to mention that Jim Nantz is mad he's making all that money, too. Jim Nantz won his spot, so.
What?
I read that the other day, man.
Yeah. He's making the money in the Masters.
Yeah, but
no. Tony is making more than him, and is only doing football. Jim is doing March Madness, the Master, and NFL. They ain't making as much as Tony.
And was doing commercials before. Before Tony Romo.
Woo.
Well, his agent wants his money. Yeah. Jim Nantz is like, better have my money, huh? Yeah. But,
Tony Romo cleaning up on those Corona commercials, boy.
Oh yeah. So I mean, when you look at it, you kind of say this is how it works. It's just bizarre. But let's be real though. When you talk about the on those shows with the female hosts, they doing it because they know it's politically correct.
Yeah.
And so the person is supposed to be the go-between between the guys that are on the panelists, and that's what it's been. They've never really wanted them to come in and partake, if you will. And then sometimes when they try to on certain shows, certain women seem, or the host seems, or hostess seems out of place. It's almost as if they really don't, they have an understanding of what the topic is sometimes. I've seen that often.
But my point is, there are women out there that are knowledgeable with the sport that you can put in that position that can elevate the show. I mean, don't get me wrong. I look at a pretty face like anybody else, but after the first come, I'm not paying attention to her sitting there. I can give a damn if she's sitting there. I mean, it's just what it is. I don't tune in that show to see her for the first 5 seconds, or she go to commercial. It's just lazy work to me when you can't find qualified women to sit there that can hold their own against those two. And they're out there. And I'm sure they would love to be in that position, but you want to stick a blonde up there with big breasts or whatever, a blonde up there just to sit there that you think is pretty. I mean, that's old-fashioned television, bro. And that's why ESPN is where they are today.
It's chauvinistic, pretty much.
It is. It really is.
It is. But let's look at it, too, though. Sometimes I think that they don't want anybody to really go against them. So that's why they do what they do. Because they don't want to take away from them. They don't want any controversy with somebody they would have to answer to a third party. Because that's how they build a show. When you think about it, they always promote the two guys. And then the host or whoever it is sitting there, they just sitting there. That's why they change them all the time. Because they really did. They just sitting there presenting the material.
But look at Rachel with the jump. She's knowledgeable about the sport. She go back and forth with those guys. I think she's sharp. So why can't they find somebody like that? And they got it in baseball with Ms. Fernandez. And she's sitting right beside Alex Rodriguez. And to me, I get more out of her commentary than Alex Rodriguez. You know, you get the player who played in these situations, but she knows the game backwards and forwards. So why can't they get somebody like that in the NFL to commentate, or sports period, in these sports shows that they have a woman as the host? Why can't they get somebody who's knowledgeable that can go back and forth with these guys too with her own opinion?
That's easy, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that too. But at the same time, it comes down to them dollars, man. We're gonna get this real. We've been talking about that finance. They paying them dudes for a reason. They don't want anybody or any disruptions or anybody in the middle of anything. They paying them a hell of a lot of money. We know this. And they don't want anything to take away from those guys, their horrible commentaries or where it may be. They want them to be the focus. And I think that's why they do it. Because otherwise, it would make sense, like you said, otherwise. They pay them guys. They are the top, have the names on the marquee and on the top billing, and that's why they pay them the way that they do.
Yeah, look at Candace Parker. Love Candace Parker and her knowledge of the game. And I think we said this a long time ago. They could just take Charles Barkley off, Shaq off, and just put Candace Parker there.
I remember when I used to play Chuck. I used to play Chuck.
You know,
how many times you gonna say that, bro?
Trying to fight each other and all.
Yes.
But you know, Candace Parker, I think she has a lot of options. She gets to choose what she wants to do. I would not be surprised soon if she's like has her own show with somebody else because she's that good. So whatever, if she wants to work college, she wants to work pro, whatever she wants to do, I think she has. Even they're talking about her possibly doing something outside of sports as well. So I think she has a lot of options. She just had to decide what's her next goal.
But echo your point, Puma. If it's not Candace Parker, there's still other women in basketball that you can put up that's just as knowledgeable and going to give you more. When those knuckleheads again, I mean, I like Kenny, don't get me wrong, but they don't allow Kenny to speak enough, in my opinion. Charles says the same things over and over. And I'm tired of his dead pause. Shaq, it's like the comedy sometimes is worn out. Time to move on. Do something different. That's all it is. Refresh a little bit. Just a little different. That's all. They ain't got to be there for the next 20 years.
We'll see, man. They, you know, sometimes they just like you because they personalities. And so as silly, as simple as that may sound, or it would seem so to be logical as you mentioned, we already know we live in a reality TV situation. That's why we got the thing up in the White House. I'm gonna leave that right there.
Here's the point I want to make, and this reason why, part of the reason I believe why it doesn't take place. Nobody's gonna be bold enough to lose their job behind it. And that's what happens. Who's going to be the producer come and say, you know what, I want to flip this and try this. And if it doesn't work, of course, your job is on the line. So you come in and you just keep the same old one. Because you can't tell me there's not producers out there that's tired of that. But they're not going to say anything because they're afraid to step out there and take a risk. So you come in and maintain the status quo. And because for the most part, you're getting paid well and you keep going. But if you have any credibility or any creativeness in your soul, you got to do away with some of this crap, man. It's horrible television. Who could watch it? Who?
I'm with you, but I'll say this. The other thing I think that they don't want to risk is the factor that, as crazy as it may sound, if you get Shaq or Charles Barkley, where they're ticked off and they badmouth that situation, they may not get anybody else. I'm just saying that as simple as that may sound, that's reality.
Bro.
That is reality.
Tick Shaq off and gave me half what he's paying. I'll be there. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. I mean, realistically, took Charles Barkley off. After 2 months, the world forget about Charles. You take Charles Barkley off the television, he'd have to start going beating something up for you even to talk about Charles Barkley again. The world forget about Charles. Let's be honest. Same thing with Shaq. Take him off TV, you just see him in commercials. They give you nothing.
I agree with that. I agree, but they like the people on them networks like that nothing. People because like that craziness, that stupidity, that slapstick humor that they have. A lot of people turn in for that garbage. I'm just saying. I really believe that.
I don't think many people, with the ratings being down with the NBA, and I'm not saying that's part of the reason. So it can't be that many people watching, bro. If they ain't watching television, they ain't watching the game. They damn sure ain't tuning in watching those clowns. Let's be honest. Here again, TNT is scared to change the model. It worked 10 years ago. They won Emmys. I don't know why Charles ever won an Emmy in the first place, but it won Emmys and they're afraid to move beyond it. Sometimes you got to make changes. You just do. It's life.
I agree with you, but I don't know who the person that's going to do it. That's what I'm saying.
He's scared, bro.
I agree. Yeah. That's why it's going to keep doing what they're doing. Somebody, that's how they roll with it.
I'm going to leave it here. I just saw a tweet from Colin Kaepernick. He said, 1,363 days of being denied employment, still putting in the work with Eric Reed, still going hard 5 days a week. And they show a video clip of him and Eric Reed working out, throwing, staying in shape.
I'm going to say this. I love Kaepernick, bro.
Me too.
I just think he's misguided at this point, bro. Kaepernick, it's just my opinion. He would do better speaking out at this point than try to get on the football field, bro. Let that go. Why are you trying to fight the white masses come back on the field, bro? You have elevated yourself in life. You elevated a movement. You know, so to play a football game now, you and Eric Reed, I mean, Reed maybe, but Kaepernick, cut it out, bro. Cut it out, man. You're taking away from legacy to trying to play that game again. That's done. You know half these quarterbacks aren't good as you. That's enough. We all know that. Come out, move the movement, move the chain, move the movement, bro. Don't come back and try to play football. Don't even deem yourself with that coming out talking about what they won't allow you to do no more. No, bro, you started this. And I'll always be grateful, but forget football, bro. You're bigger. You're much bigger than the game. Trust me. Travel this country, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you, that is why I always believe that's why the owners know they have them. They got them right where they want them. He's still talking about trying to play football.
Thank you.
You have evolved. You instead of stuff up, they're talking about Black Lives Matter. All this has come together. People, after watching George Floyd pass, it was all about knowing all kind of races and cultures coming together, fighting for to fight injustice. And after all this time, you still want to play football. Come on, bro. I mean, that's your dream, but it's their league. They make the rules. Again, if they know you want to play still, they'll always have you, bro. They always will have you. When they know you can't let it go, it's like a drug, bro. Don't get me wrong. I'm not belittling drugs. I know what it's like to be high. I'm going to just say this to you. At some point, you got to let it go. The only way you got to leave it behind, that's the only way you're going to heal and move forward. But they know football is your drug, and you can't let it go. And that's why even if they had to pay you the money down the line, they sit back and laugh because they took the one thing they know that you say you miss more than anything in your world. Not even your respect. You got your respect back. People saw you in a different light, but you miss playing football in their league, and they will always have it over you unless you change. That's real talk. Real talk.
That's sad, bro. That really is, man. The fact that tweet is sad, bro. It really is. I mean, I think he's making a point, but to me, you're showing me where your mentality is, bro. And I love him. Here again, I love him for what he accomplished, what he has done. The last thing, even if you're thinking that, don't tweet it. Don't do that. Don't. It's an old saying, never let them see you sweat. You just show them when your underarm is sweating, bro. That's what you're showing them.
And I want to know this. What do you think the owners are thinking right now that saw that?
Thank you.
They're laughing their asses off. See, I told you. I told you.
Yes.
And they saying, see that boy? We told that boy, this is our house. This is our league. And they and the whole point of them doing what they did was to set an example. You get out of line, this can happen to you. And he still can't let it go. My heart hurts for him. My heart hurts for him. It just does. It shows you that's what they want. They use these players as, not even view them as people, they use them as machines. And you still jonesing because he wants to be on the field. Damn. Sad, bro.
Yeah.
That's what hurts me as a man of color.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's
they got
it. Yeah.
You have all the many money, and we know about the books, $40 million slaves. That's what it is. I'll pay you $40 million. I still have control, no matter what, how much money I pay you. I still control you.